Hey guys, welcome back to Change Your Perspective, Change Your Awareness, Change Your Life. I'm Dr. Mina AF, that felon doctor, hashtag, and I am here to help you come up a little higher from your old life where you've been kind of functioning maybe for too long, and give you some new methods of operation, give you some new MOs, new belief systems, new patterns that will have you coming up higher and gaining power control back over yourself, back over your life. Having done the hard work here, guys, having done the hard knocks, having completely failed in a lot of ways at a lot of the things, I can tell you how to do it properly. Okay, this is not me coming to you from like some high and lofty place like, look at me, I've never messed up. No, this is, if anybody knows my story, I have messed up more often than probably I should have. So this week, I want to talk to you about honor. And that is a thing that we are woefully bereft of in this day and age. We do not literally have a lot of honor left. Not a lot of people value honor. Not a lot of people value being honorable, both men and women alike, right? So this is a tricky one. It has to do with integrity and it has to do with honesty, so you can go back and watch those. But honor is like leaving things better than you found them, right? Honor is like doing the right thing by your own measure, by your own standards, because that is the right thing to do, right? It is just showing up. Integrity is like being honest with yourself and showing up out of that space. Honor and being honorable is like doing things to the best of your ability for the best of everybody's outcome, right? So having that honor is crucial now because we have so many dishonorable people, right? So it's actually really weird when people see you being honorable. They're like, I don't get it. So as somebody who's been not honorable and somebody who has been honorable, let me tell you that it works better when you use honor. I'll show you what that looks like. So when I broke up with somebody, we broke up, actually. I don't even know who broke up with who at this point, but we broke up. And we were still kind of talking afterwards because it was more of a separation than a breakup. And that person was like, wow, you literally are the same after the breakup as you were in the relationship. Different in like how the access, different in the conversations, different in a lot of that kind of way, but in the actual conduct of my character and how I showed up, it was always honorable. I say what I mean what I say, I do what I say I'm gonna do. Like, these are things that are hugely important to me now, having not done it that way, and it did not end up productive or effective, right? So they were like floored at the fact they were like, wow, like you're the same, even though like I've broken your heart here. I'm like, yeah, of course, because there's a way in which I like to conduct my business that is honorable. I like to leave it better than I found it. Now I do that. That is not my MO from the past. Now I do that. Now as I've come up higher and I'm like, hey, like there are certain ways I need to conduct myself regardless of the circumstances, right? That was not always the case. What I used to do, and this was a lot of the times because I was like scared of rejection, scared of things ending, freaked out during transitional times, didn't like liminal spaces. What I used to do is when a thing would end, I would cut everything off and burn that motherfucker down. Like, that is what I would do. Not intentionally, it was a subconscious pattern, but every time I left a place, like 6th grade, 12th grade, senior year of college, my last year teaching, it was always a dumpster fire. And what I did inadvertently and ineffectively was literally burn down any vestiges of good that I had done in that space for the time that I was there. So instead of leaving a positive legacy, like, wow, that Michelina was so helpful, what I did was any good that I did, I would mess up at the like end. It was like tripping at the end of the race. It was like you just ran a beautiful race and then you tripped up at the end and you're like, why? For me, a lot of that There was a lot of reasons for that I only worked through over the last 4 years. Like, I didn't realize a lot of my own shortcomings, a lot of my own mental blocks, a lot of my own emotional blocks. For me at that time, and for maybe a lot of you, it felt safer to completely deconstruct the thing than to separate from it in an effective, peaceable manner. I have a hard time with leaving things. I have a hard time with shifting. Well, not now. Now I have less of a hard time, but then I did. Now is a whole different, it's a whole nother new life, right? You come into new life. I put myself in a place where I had no choice but to conduct myself with honor. Because when everybody thinks that you're like this criminal, you have got to conduct your standard higher, or you will conduct your standard to the standard of what they're expecting. So like every time, at this point, I think I've had 6 different probation officers, and every time my goal is to be their best like person on probation. I want to give them the least problems. I want to be the kindest to them. I want to welcome them into my home. I want to see if they need a water, right? Like, I want to be as gracious as possible, as honorable as possible, as honest as possible. Because I'm like, first off, like, what are we doing here? If I'm not going to be the best that I can be in a shitty situation, then I'm going to be the worst I can be in that situation. And I've already chosen not to do that, right? I've already chosen not to do that. I'm not choosing low-level life. I'm not doing it. Even though, as I've said before, and I will say again, the temptation to do that is there. It is the harder choice to rise above it. It is the harder choice to say, okay, I know that you're treating me like a criminal, but I'm not going to act like I am one. That is a hard thing to do, guys, when you're getting piss tested all the time, okay? That is a hard thing to do when they do warrantless searches in your home, because that makes you feel like you are a criminal, but you refuse because you're not. And that is a metaphor for life, guys. It doesn't have to be my very extreme situation. It can be your own situation. Just because your boss treats you like you're incompetent doesn't mean you are, doesn't mean that you need to show up that way, doesn't mean you need to show up in any other way other than how you show up, in honor and integrity. Because how they feel about you is irrelevant to what you know about yourself. And hey, that works in this way too. Let's say you don't know a thing. Let's say you are insecure about the things. You're like, crap, I don't know this. You can get secure enough within yourself that the honorable thing to do is be like, yeah, I don't know. Wish I did. That happens to me even with the company that I work with now, where it's like, hey, why did this thing happen? Like, I manage a team of 8 under me, and all of whom I've hired and I manage and I work with. And so I'm accountable for these 8 people. So my boss will come to me and she's like, hey, why did this person do this thing? And I'm like, I don't know. I have no idea why they did this thing. That wasn't what they were supposed to do, but they did it. So let me talk to them and find out. I do not know. Wish I did, right? The honorable thing is to say, I don't know. I'm not going to make excuses for them. I'm not going to make excuses for me. I'm just going to say, hey, great question. I'll find out the answer. Hang tight, and I'll let you know what goes on. And then have a conversation, open, honest, engaging with that person about, hey, what happened here? You know? So there are sort of standards when you want to show up in honor. This is for men and women. This is just a standard to be your best self from an old life to a new life. If you implement these standards, watch your life radically shift. I promise you. Here they are, right? 1, leave it better than you found it. 2, say what you mean what you say. 3, do what you say you're going to do. If you can really internalize those things and start functioning out of that space, everything's going to start shifting to you. You're going to start coming from old crusty life into new life, into high value, high level life. So I'm like, oh wow, I feel good about me because I showed up in this way. I don't care what anybody else thinks, right? As somebody who is living that, okay, somebody who lives that life all the time, I will tell you. So we're going to be talking about honor all week. It is not dead, right? Chivalry is not dead. Chivalry is not just for men, okay? There are certainly ways that men are more chivalric, but like honor is for everybody. And it is woefully misplaced and misguided right now when you show up in honor, you change the dynamic of your relationships. You change the dynamic of a lot of things. Okay, so we're going to be talking about honor all week. I hope that you're going to enjoy it. Again, as always, if you enjoy this content, like, subscribe, hit the bell, tell your friends, grow the channel. Definitely want to expedite the awareness of where mental blocks are, emotional blocks are. If you're ready to take actionable steps, right? Awareness comes first. You're ready to take actionable steps. www.completelyfekt.vhx.tv. We'll start getting that ball rolling. And excited to keep coming to you with my experiences that were crusty and how I like to conduct myself now to be the best version of myself that I could possibly be. See you guys next time.